Okay. Panchakalpatarubhyashcha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om jnanatimirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lankayate girim yatkripatamaham bande Shri Gurun dinataranam. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. I want to thank everybody for coming to watch me embarrass myself by trying to be a big-time Zoom host. It worked out just as well as I thought it might. Great opportunity for me to embarrass myself in public, which is just what I need. So, now we're streaming live on Facebook. Do I have to go through the whole mea culpa thing again?
It's okay.
I apologize for all the confusion. I thought I had figured out how to do this beforehand. I've spent hours fiddling with this stuff and was not amused when it didn't work as I thought it would. Fortunately, I have another week to try to figure it out again. We want to discuss, someone says they can't see me. I don't know what that means.
We can see you, Maharaj. I think Kanuram has some problem with his own system, so you can continue.
It's your problem, Kanuram. So we want to discuss Sharanagati, and what I wanted to do today was just to give some background. But I thought we would start with a little, let's see if I know how to do this. With a little kirtan from a familiar voice. So let me see what happens here. Host has disabled participant screen sharing. There we go. The embarrassment continues. So Padmanabha Maharaj, if you can somehow or other give me permission to share my screen. I have more.
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, well, that's fun.
I'm trying to see if there is an option of how to share a screen, but I'm not finding it. I think we should continue without the option of sharing screen. Is that too complicated, Maharaj?
Well, it complicates.
At least if someone knows how to
it makes the presentation.
The option.
It makes what I wanted to do.
Well, let's see. Here, Sakirati is telling me in settings, there should be an option to allow. Yeah, I make something with share my screen. Sorry. In settings, allow others to see their screens. What do you mean by settings, Sakirati? Which part? Do you have an option, Maharaj?
Oh, now it says I'm a co-host.
Yes, I made that to see if that helps.
Let's see what happens. Boom. Oh, looky. Okay, so I thought we would hear a familiar voice first. Let's see if I can make this work. Oh, wait. There was something I needed to do first. Forgot to, shucks. Okay, stop share, start over again. Share screen, share sound. Now I'm going to try it.
Chaitanya Prabhu Jibe daya kori Sapashada Swiyadhama Sahayavatari. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive daya kori Swapashada Swiyadhama Sahayavatari. Adyanta dulaba prema koribar dana. Adyanta dulaba prema koribar dana. Shikaya sharanagati bhakatero prana. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive daya kori Sapashada Swiyadhama Sahayavatari. Doinayatmani vedana goptritve marana. Doinayatmani vedana goptritve marana. Avashyara Shive Krishna Vishvasa Palana. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive daya kori Sapashada Swiyadhama Sahayavatari. Bhakti anukula matra Kajara svikara
Bhakti anukula matra Kajara svikara
Bhakti pratikula bhava Bhajanangikara
Bhakti pratikula bhava Bhajanangikara
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Sapashada Sriyadama Sahayavatari Sharanga Sharanagati Hoibe Jahara
Sharanga Sharanagati Hoibe Jahara
Tahara Pratana Shune Srinanda Kumara Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Sapashada Sriyadama Sahayavatari Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Trinakori
Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Trinakori
Bhakati Vinoda Pade Duparadari
Bhakti Vinoda Pade
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Sapashada Sriyadama Sahayavatari Kandiya Kandiya Bole Ami tu Adama
Kandiya Kandiya Bole Ami tu Adama
Shikaye Sharanagati Kuruhe Utama
Shikaya Sharanagati Kuruhe Utama
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kori Sapashada Sriyadama Sahayavatari
Maharaj, we can hear you. I've sent you the, I don't know how it was that you were muted, but I sent you the option to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I've got the kirtan going in my ears, and I can't find my browser now to stop it.
We are listening to you now, Maharaj, not the kirtan. And whenever you are back, please put the video on as well.
Okay, I apologize. Again, it seems to be the theme of my life here.
Maharaj, you can try pushing the space bar, should stop the music.
Oh, well, that would have probably done it now that I think about it. I guess I got flustered. I had two browser windows open, one with my 140,000 tabs and that I work with, and then that one. So I meant to stop when the Hare Krishna Kirtan started. I really wanted to find a video of Agni Dev chanting that live at like a Kirtan festival or something. But despite hours of trying that, I wasn't able to. So I had to go with his hit album, his version from his hit album, Prayer to the Lotus Feet of Lord Krishna. So as most of us recognize, this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's introductory song to his collection of songs on Sharanagati. So Bhaktivinoda sings, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kore Swaparshada Sriya Dhamma Saha Avatari. And the translation I'm reading is from Srila Sridhar Maharaj's commentary on Sharanagati, which will be one of my sources as we go through this series. Being merciful to the souls, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descends with his associates and abodes. Atyanta durlabha prema koribare dan shikaya sharanagati bhakatera pran. To distribute the most rare form of prema, he teaches Sharanagati, which is the life of the devotees. Dainya Atmanivedana Goptritve Varan Avashar Rakshebe Krishna Vishvasa Palan Bhakti Anukula Matra Karyera Svikar Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Varjanangikar. Humility, self-submission, embracing the Lord's guardianship, maintaining the faith that Krishna will certainly protect me, engaging only in activities which are favorable to devotion, and rejecting everything unfavorable to devotion. Sharanga Sharanagati Hoibe Jahar Tahar Prarthana Shune Sri Nanda Kumar. Sri Nanda Kumar hears the prayers of one who surrenders in this sixfold way. And I always found this verse really interesting because you get on social media. Well, the only social media I use is Facebook, reluctantly. And we often see devotees requesting prayers for their children, their moms, their grandmothers, somebody or another. And I always think, oh, this is Krishna trying to trick me into surrendering. Otherwise, what's the point of my prayer? Rupa Sanatana Pade, Dante Trinina Kodi, Bhakti Vinoda Pade, Duhum Pada Dori, Kandia Kandia Bole Amitu Adam, Shikaye Sharanagati Koraheutam. Bhaktivinoda places a straw between his teeth and falls before Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu and Srila Sanatan Goswami Prabhu, clasping their feet. Crying incessantly, he prays, I am so lowly. Please elevate me by teaching Sharanagati. So, Sharanagati or Sharanapati is an essential part of bhakti for all Vaishnavas. We've heard from Guru Maharaj a number of times that for the Sri Vaishnavas, Sharanapati is their main practice, and they achieve liberation by engaging in Sharanapati. In fact, some of the Sri Vaishnava texts say that Sri Ramanuja Acharya taught two things, Bhakti Yoga and Sharanapati. Now the Gaudiyas see Sharanapati or Sharanagati as one of the 64 prominent angas of sadhana bhakti. We note that it is actually, I think it's the 55th out of the 64. Try a screen share here again. And this is not exactly what I wanted. Well, I'm not where I wanted to be here. I thought I was queued up, but we see in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that okay, well, that didn't work out. We see that Sharanagati is one of those 64 angas of bhakti. I think it's the 55th out of the list of 64. And I really wanted to have that. And so this is an extremely, a really important anga of bhakti. We see this anga of bhakti mentioned in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in chapter 22 of the Madhya Lila. Try sharing again. We see it mentioned a couple of places.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
We see it mentioned a couple of places in chapter 22. One is early on. This is just after Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj has Srila Rupa Goswami. Let's see if I wanted to go back one more. Yeah, has Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is his instructions to Sanatan Goswami on the process of devotional service, and as he's building up to discussing those 64 angas, he says a verse that's probably well known to many of us. Krishna Surya Samamaya Hoya Andakar, Jahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Adhikar. Krishna is compared to sunshine, and Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy will immediately vanish. And then he cites a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vilajjamanaya yasyas tatu mikshe pate muya, vimohita vikatante mamaham iti durdhya. The external energy of Krishna, known as Maya, is always ashamed to stand in front of Krishna, just as darkness is ashamed to remain before the sunshine. However, that Maya bewilders unfortunate people who have no intelligence. They simply boast that this material world is theirs and that they are its enjoyers. And then he says, Krishna tomar hoya jadi bole ekabar maya banda hoite Krishna tare koripar. One is immediately freed from the clutches of Maya if he seriously and sincerely says, my dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in the material world, today I am surrendering to you. I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service. And then, as he does, he cites a Sanskrit verse to support this. Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita never make an assertion without supporting it with evidence from the scriptures or illustrating it. Sometimes we see that in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as well, that some of the verses, supporting verses, are illustrations of the point that he wants to make. So he cites a verse, this is from the Ramayana, I believe. Yep, Yuddha Kanda. Sakradeva prapanno, yes, there we go. There's our word, prapanno. Prapanna is another word for prapati or sharanagati or sharanapati, several words for the same concept. Sakradeva prapanno, yes, tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadamye tadvritam mama. It is my vow, I think this is Lord Ramchandra speaking to Vibhishana, who, although he's from the enemy's side, has come to surrender. It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. I remember reading this passage, the analogous passage in Teachings of Lord Chaitanya back in 1970, and highlighting and underlining the heck out of that. And I started back then every morning saying these two things together. My dear Lord Krishna, although I have forgotten you for so many long years in the material world, now I am surrendering to you. I am your sincere and your serious servant. My dear Lord, from this day I am yours. Because I took seriously Lord Ramchandra's promise that if we can say this just once, seriously and sincerely, that he will give us that courage and he will afford us all protection. So 51 years later, I'm still practicing, hoping that I'll get it right one of these days. This is part of my practice when I wake in the morning and when I do prepare to chant japa and when I prepare to take care of my Thakurjis. This is part of a number of prayers that I say. So this is a really central activity, a really central practice for Gaudiya Vaishnavas especially. We hear in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Jaiva Dharma that Sharanagati, and this is something that Guru Maharaj points out quite frequently, that Sharanagati or Sharanapati is an external manifestation of Shraddha. This is how we express our faith in the process of bhakti. Chaitanya Charitamrita defines Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohet Sudhrita Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That what we call faith is the conviction. Sudhrita Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohet Sudhrita. It's a very firm conviction. In what? Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That if we engage in Krishna Bhakti, everything else we might want to accomplish is automatically taken care of. So we express that by engaging in these 6 angas of surrender, which we'll start to look at next week. Now, as part of the examination of the background, I want to, I can make this work. In his editor's notes to Srila Sridhar Maharaj's commentary on Sharanagati, Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj cites quite a number of Shastric sources, many from the Bhagavatam, explaining the importance of Sharanagati or Sharanapati or Prapatti in the life of the sadhaka. So try a screen share. So he starts with a verse from the Chandogya Upanishad. Syamachavalam prapadye shavalachamam prapadye. By the mercy of Sham, Krishna, I surrender unto Shavala, Radha. By the mercy of Shavala, I surrender to Sham. And this is something that old devotees probably remember from Srila Prabhupada's address that he gave at the Gaudiya Mat in Mumbai in 1936 on the occasion of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's Vyasa Puja. He cited this verse in that in that address. And then he cites many Bhagavatam verses, and I'll share a few of them. 7:20, so we have 7:21, so we have a few minutes left. I want to share a few of them, just so that we can see. This is Krishna speaking to Uddhava. Tasmat tvam uddhavotsurjya chodanam pratichodanam pravriting cha nivriting cha shrotavyam shrutameva cha mamekam eva sharanam atmanam sarvadehinam yahi sarvatma bhavena mayasya yakuto bhayaha. O Uddhava, totally abandoning the Vedas and their auxiliaries, all of their prescriptions and prohibitions, and everything you've ever heard or may come to hear, take exclusive shelter of me, the life of all beings, with all your heart. By my grace, you will become completely fearless. Along the way, I believe we will, I don't know if we'll get there in the short time we have left, but I believe he also cites what we all have in mind, and that is Krishna's final instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tvang sarvapapebhyo moksha ishyami ma suchaha. And this is the Sri Vaishnava's pramana for Sharanapati or Prapati as their main anga of bhakti, engaging in surrender. So Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all varieties of religion, all conventional conceptions of dharma, and take exclusive shelter of me. And he says, even if there's some flaw in your doing so, even if there's some poor reaction to, and if you don't do it faultlessly even, he said, you don't have to worry, ma shuchaha, because I will cover any of these reactions. So take a look at a few more. This is from the 5th chapter. This is one of the Navyogendras addressing King Nimi. And I'm not yet familiar enough with all these verses to remember off the top of my head which of the rishis is addressing King Nimi here. Devarshi bhutapta nrinam patrinam nakinkaro nayam nrni charajan sarvatmanya yasharanam sharanya sarvatmanya yasharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. So here we have sharanam, taking shelter, surrendering. We have it twice together. One who's completely abandoned all worldly duties and surrendered wholeheartedly unto the ultimate shelter, Mukunda, is no longer a debtor to, nor a servant of the demigods, sages, other living entities, relatives, mankind, or ancestors. And then back to Krishna and Uddhava, later in the Uddhava Gita. Marto yada tyakta samasta karma niveditatma vichikirshito me tadamritatvam pratipadyamano mayatma bhuyaya chakalpatevai. Krishna says, when a mortal being completely abandons all mundane endeavors, surrenders himself to me, and acts according to my desires, he attains immortality and becomes fit to associate with me. And here we have a verse from the 2nd canto. If one wholeheartedly takes shelter of the infinite Supreme Lord's feet, the Lord bestows his true mercy upon him, and he thereby transcends the Lord's insurmountable Maya. The Lord does not bestow his mercy on those who ascribe the conceptions of I and mine to the material body, which is nothing more than food for jackals and dogs. Oh, and then here's one. This is Uddhava speaking with Vidura here at the Honolulu Center. We've just begun the 3rd chapter, and we're at the very beginning of the 3rd canto of the Bhagavatam. So at the very beginning, we have the setup for Uddhava's going on pilgrimage and hearing, Vidura is going on pilgrimage. He's insulted. He's giving some really strong instruction to Dhritarashtra, and Duryodhana, as is his way, really in the nastiest of ways insults Vidura. And so Vidura takes it as an opportunity to give the place up and to go off on pilgrimage. And he hears first from Uddhava and then from Maitreya. So Uddhava is speaking to Vidura, and he says, Aho baki yam stanakala kutam jigang shayayapyayad apyasadvi lebhe gatim datryuchitam tatonyam kam vadayalum sharanam brajema. Oh, even though the wicked Putana nursed Krishna with her poison-smeared breasts intending to kill him, Krishna granted her a position befitting his mother. Of what merciful Lord shall we take shelter other than him? So we know we know how this verse shows up in a number of places. This is one of the verses that one of the disciples of Vyasadeva chanted as he went into the forest disguised as a woodcutter, trying to lure Shukadev Goswami back so that he could hear rasa from Vyasadeva, because he was a self-realized soul. He was completely fixed in Brahman. But when he heard these verses from the Bhagavatam, he realized there was something even better than Brahmananda. So he came back and heard some more. And we also know in Chaitanya Lila that when Mukunda took Gadadhar Pandit to meet Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and Gadadhar being simple-hearted Vaishnava that he was, when he saw the opulent life that that Pundarik was living, he thought to himself, "This guy's a Vaishnava? What's that about?" And Mukunda, feeling his heart, thought, "Oh, okay, let's show him." So he called out this verse, and we know that Pundarik Vidyanidhi went into trance, and Gadadhar was able to understand Pundarik's real position and take shelter of him, accept initiation from him. Here's a verse from Lord Brahma's prayers. Samashritaje padapallava plavam mahatpadam punya yasho murare bhavam buddhir vatsa padam param padam padam yad vipadam padam yad vipadam natesha. For those who have taken refuge in the shelter of the great souls, the boat of the lotus feet of Sri Murari, who was renowned as purity personified, the ocean of material existence becomes as insignificant as the water in a calf's hoofprint. Their destination is the supreme abode, never this world where there is danger at every step. And this list goes on. Actually, I think we have several pages. And then we have some Gita verses as well, the 66th verse, as I mentioned before, and then Tameva Sharanam Gacha, the 62nd verse of the 18th chapter. Tameva Sharanam Gacha Sarva Bhavena Bharata Tat Prasadat Param Shantim Stanam Prapsasi Shashvatam. O Arjuna, surrender unto the Lord in all respects. By his grace, you will attain his eternal abode and supreme peace. And here, and then in the 7th chapter, Daivi Hiesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duryatya Mamevadye Prapadyante Maya Metang Tarantite. That only those who surrender to Krishna can transcend this threefold Maya. And then Bahunam Janmanamante Gyanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many births, an enlightened soul surrenders unto me, realizing Vasudeva is everything. Such a great soul is very rare. And he says, and so on. In the Vishnu Purana, in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, in the Brihan Naradiya Purana, and on and on. And then this wonderful verse from the Padma Purana, which is gives us our understanding of the word namaha. Aham kritir makarasyan nakaras tan nishedhakaha tasmatu namasa chaitri svatantriam pratisiddhyate bhagavat paratantro sao tadayatatma jivanaha tasmat sva samartya vidhim tyajet sarvam masheshataha. In the word namaha, obeisance, the syllable ma indicates the self-asserting ego, ahankar. In other words, I'm doing this, I am the doer. And the syllable na indicates its prevention or negation. Thus, the act of offering obeisance, namaha, nullifies the offerer's independence. The soul is by its nature subordinate to the Supreme Lord. Their innate function is servitude to him. Therefore, all actions performed with the conception, I am the doer, should be utterly abandoned. And then there's one more, this also comes up later in the 22nd chapter of Madhya Lila in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is from the Narasingha Purana. This is Lord Nrsingadev making a promise. Tvam prapannosmi sharanam deva devam janardanam itiya sharanam praptas tat kleshad udharamyaham. I deliver from all suffering one who takes shelter of me, declaring, O supreme refuge, O Lord of lords, O Janardan, I am surrendered unto you. So we can see from this sample, and there were more where that came from. We can see from this sample how important it is for us to develop a clear understanding of what it means to surrender to Krishna in all respects. And so what I hope to do, and this is I hope the beginning of a project that I've had simmering on a back burner for far too long, is to look at a number of sources, including Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sharanagati songs and Srila Sridhar Maharaj's commentary on it, and a number of other sources as well, to examine these 6 aspects of taking shelter of the Lord, and help us in the hopes that will help us all more easily make this an essential part of our own practice. It's already past 7:30, and I want to make a few minutes, even though it's late, for any comments from the other devotees. So
anyone can unmute themselves if they want, Maharaj.
Oh, they can unmute themselves. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So I don't have to pretend I'm doing anything. I'm going to get a gallery view here so I get a sense of who's here. Oh, and everybody has their video turned off, like nice boys and girls, unfortunately for me. Oh, there's a smiling face. There's another smiling face. So no one has any comments to add? Oh, and another. Oh, this is coming alive. I'm just going to stay here and watch all the faces come on. There's Saragrahi. There are devotees I know and devotees I don't. And there's Guru Nishta, who I haven't seen in far too long, Mahara. Oh, Madan Mohan, Omkar. Okay, if there is no further discussion, I guess we can leave it there and meet back here again next week. Hopefully, having wasted less time trying to get Grandpa up to speed on how this internet machine works. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. I'm so happy to be in your company. Samaveta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sharanagati Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Sripad
Hare
Bhaktivinoda
Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai.
Yeah.